Hello Decatur Eagle fans, and welcome to this year's first broadcast of the Coach Mike Fuller Show. We've got Coach Fuller here. Coach Fuller's in his first season as the athletic director and head football coach here in Decatur. Coach, give the folks a little bit of background on your coaching history before you got to Decatur.
So I came here directly from Colleyville Heritage in the Metroplex, now a 6A school, 5A at the time. Was there for 7 years. We had a really good run. Loved it, great community, good school. Before that I was at Coppell for 10 years. We went to Coppell and they were in the midst of a 36-year playoff drought and finally turned that around, but moved on to Colleyville from there. My first coaching job was down in the valley in Harlingen, Texas. Happy to be back up in the Metroplex for the last several years, and really thrilled to be a Decatur Eagle now.
Well, I understand everybody in the community is thrilled that you're here. And I also understand that you had a pretty good pedigree of playing football yourself. Tell everybody a little bit about your playing history.
I don't want anybody to really delve too deep into my history of playing football, because some of it was a little bit embarrassing, but I had a great time. I played high school football and baseball at Arlington High. It was a great time. We had one of the best teams that Arlington High had ever had. Loved it there. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to play football at Abilene Christian University, which was a really good experience for me. In my last year I was able to play baseball as well. I learned a lot and decided out there that I wanted to be a football coach.
Well, I know that you came to Decatur, Coach, in the spring, and you worked with the boys a little bit, and you worked with them over the summer, and I know that they've worked really, really hard up to this point. You know, y'all just got out of practice tonight. How are the boys looking this week?
You know, I think anytime you lose a football game, and we were all disappointed last week about not beating Springtown, especially when we watched the film. We saw areas where we could have played a little bit harder, and reminded of times we could have practiced a little bit better the week before. And when those things happen, your pride kind of kicks in. And today I would say is one of the best practices we've had this year as far as effort and intensity from the beginning. Now, was it perfect? No, by no means was it perfect, but our effort was there. And you know, these guys want to be successful. They want to win. They want to create a name for themselves and not live off of last year's success. So they're working hard and really hungry to get a win this week.
Coach, you come to us from a larger district, much larger in Colleyville Heritage. Tell us a little bit about your arrival here in Decatur, and what do you think of Decatur High School and small town USA?
Well, you know, first of all, the reception here has been very warm from the faculty, the administration, from Mr. Townsend on down to to people I've seen at Walmart and just around town. It's been a great experience so far for my family and me. The kids have been phenomenal. They're great kids here. They work hard. They're well behaved. They're well mannered. They take care of their business. They show up when they're supposed to. It is a little bit different from coming from a really big community, a big school. But the thing I was most attracted to about Decatur is it's more of a community. Not to say anything bad about Colleyville Heritage or anything like that, but in a lot of ways it was just a giant high school with a bunch of houses around it. This is a town. It's a community. And when we go to play a football game, when we go to Waxahachie this week, our town is going to play the town of Alvarado in their school. So that's pretty exciting to me, being in a smaller setting where you get to know a lot more people, probably on a personal basis, rather than just kind of being a number in a big town.
Coach, you've come in and you brought in some new coaches, and there's been some changes. Tell everybody a little bit about how the boys responded to the new coaches on your staff and the changes that you've implemented.
I think the players have responded great. When we came here, when I first got here, there were already a number of coaches who were leaving to go with Coach Story. And I know when you're replacing a coach that people really liked, and when some of the coaches are coming in and replacing a receiver coach, for example, that the players really like playing for, that can be a little bit of a challenge. But these kids have welcomed us with open arms. They were patient. This spring, Coach Ross was the first one that was able to come on board with me. That was new. So we just we did it. We put in things as slowly as we could. But the kids responded well and paid attention. And took to heart whatever we were teaching. I think, in general, it really doesn't matter, if you got a group of champions, and I don't mean just undefeated teams. I mean people who are committed to being great teammates and doing the best they can do. they're gonna succeed and give a great effort no matter who's in charge. So the kids have done that. I think we're just going to put a little bit different stamp on it. It may take a while, but we'll get there. And I'm just really proud so far of the way the kids have really battled and made us feel welcome and just getting to know them.
You know, while you were at Colleyville Heritage for 10 years, you established a winning tradition at that school. You know, Decatur has gone, I guess last season, 3 rounds deep into the playoffs. Is there anything that you're carrying over, any strategies or anything from Colleyville Heritage that you feel like were important that you're bringing to the Decatur program?
You know, I don't know if it's really, I don't really know exactly how things were run before, so I don't look too much in the past. You know, we had a great team here last year. You know, I was a part of a really good team last year, but that was last year. That was completely in the past. So it's not about what any school has done or any coach or player has done in the past. It's about this year and getting better. But I would say the main thing that I tried to bring to every program that I'm a part of is just that you've got to come every day just ready to compete. You've got to win every day. If you want to win on Friday, you've got to win on Monday, and you've got to win on Tuesday. You've got to win in the weight room, you've got to win in film sessions, and it's just a matter of staying focused on the most important thing, which is whatever comes next. The next play, the next quarter, the next practice, the next off season, the next summer, whatever it is. And that's kind of my mantra for all time. You know, that message will never play. That never change. The most important play in football is the next one, and we've got to live up to that.
Let's talk a little bit about this 2014 Decatur Eagle football team. You know, you and I have talked before about your offensive line and how proud you are of them. Just expound a little bit about how important it is to have an offensive line with some veteran guys on it.
Well, I mean, that's wherever. It doesn't matter what your system is, whether you throw it every down or you run it every play. It all starts with the guys up front. If you're not good up front on offense and defense, then it's going to be hard to be very successful in either scheme, any scheme. You know, those guys have some experience. We had a devastating blow to our team when Ricky Roberts went down with an Achilles injury. But I think he's still going to have an impact. He's still going to motivate some other guys and be a leader and kind of a motivational factor for the other guys. But we're really proud of how some of the other guys stepped in and tried to fill his shoes. It's going to take. He got some big shoes to fill, but it's a good offensive line, and that's where it all starts. It starts with those guys up front.
Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, what do you feel like are the strengths of your Decatur Eagle defense?
I think you know, it could be different depending on the day, but you know, I think when we're hitting on all cylinders and when we're playing confident football, we're pretty tough to move the ball on. There were flashes in that game the other night, even though the stats aren't going to show it, and if you just look at the score, it's not going to show it. But there were flashes where we were great. We were flying to the football, pursuing, playing our assignment like it's supposed to be played, and really getting after it. I think that the key, and this is the key really for our whole team, is to stay focused on the next play. We had a couple of times where in the game we had a great first and second down. Got Springtown stuck in a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 situation, and instead of really buckling down and playing that next play like it's the most important, we had a few lapses to where we were relying on the past and relying on what we had just done, and not really focusing and being intent on letting them off the field. And then because of that, they made a few big plays on 3rd down and converted, and then we got into that same mode of, well, what just happened was they made a big play, get our head down a little bit, and then kind of get hit in the mouth. We've got to be able to put past us, put behind us whatever just happened, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether it was indifferent. We've got to stay focused on what's in front of us. You know, if they have not scored yet, we still got a chance, and we need to play with that mentality, and we'll get there. We'll get to that point. But when you get a little bit tired and when you get a little bit frustrated, sometimes your responsibility, you maybe start trying to do someone else's or do a little bit too much or whatever. And I think that was maybe the case the other night. But we're fixing that, and we're gonna be much better defensively this week.
Coach, everybody knows that the Decatur Eagles team in 2013 was stacked and went 3 rounds deep, and You know, at the end of last school year, they graduated a lot of talented players, especially on offense. How do you go about replacing guys like that?
Well, you know, here's the cool thing about that. It's high school football, and that's what every team does every year. You have seniors who graduate, and it's time for the next guys to step up. Sometimes it's seniors that just haven't had a chance yet. Sometimes it's juniors, maybe even a sophomore or a freshman. But you know, that's a never-ending issue in high school athletics. They're going to graduate and they're going to move on. And last year's guys did a great job, and we will find the people this year who will step up and be our leaders and score the touchdowns and get the yards and all those things. But really, it's about what our team can do and how well we can stay focused on what our job is on a daily basis.
And our job this Saturday in the Dale Hansen Classic, Saturday at 3 p.m., is the Alvarado Indians. What can you tell us about the Alvarado team?
Alvarado is big. Alvarado is fast. They're physical. They're a really, really good football team. They just so happened to go up against a team last week that was just a little bit faster and a little bit more athletic than they were. You know, but they're a downhill, smash mouth, old school type football team that will get after you. So we've got to be ready. We've been a little bit more physical this week in practice because we know we're going to have to. If you don't bring your best against those guys, they'll make you pay. They're a good football team, a great program, and we're really looking forward to the opportunity.
Well, if I had to put you on the spot to give everybody 3 keys to the game, what would they be, Coach?
I'm going to say defensively, we're going to have to fly the football. We're going to have to play until the whistle blows. We've got to have all 11. We've got to make the Alvarado team play against 11 Eagles on every play. We can't have anybody taking a play off. We can't have anybody taking a portion of a play off. We've got to be opportunistic in that. From that standpoint, you know, they're the kind of team that would like to go 80 yards, take 17 plays to do it, and take about 7 minutes off the clock in the process. We've got to get them off the field, and to do that, we're going to have to hold up defensively and fly the football. On the offensive side of the ball, we've got to be patient. We've got to take what they give us. If the play and the way the way they play us says that 4 yards is there, we need to get 4 yards. And hopefully, once we get 4, we make somebody miss a tackle and get a little bit further. But we can't get behind the chains. Last week we had a few silly mistakes that jumping off sides here or going the wrong way in a certain situation to lose a few yards. But we've got to be opportunistic and take what they give us. And then of course we've got to be great in the kicking game. We had a little turnover last week. Other than that, we had 1 turnover on a misplayed kickoff return, and then we gave up a big return to them, so we've got to be a little bit better there. Most of the kicking game was pretty good, but I'd say those are the 3 keys.
Coach, I know we've got a lot of talented underclassmen. Tell us a little bit about sub-varsity. How are they doing?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because, I think, I've heard it said, I heard this a long time ago, but if you coach next year's team this year, you'll never have a bad year. So, we really focus on trying to make sure our JV players and our freshman players are really well coached and ready to go. Regardless of talent, regardless of what kind of numbers they have, we're gonna focus on making sure that they are engaged and know what's going on, know how to play their position. Our freshmen last week played Springtown. Just really got after them from the opening kickoff till the end. It was 45 to 8, and really executed well. Good thing about it is everybody got to play. We suited up 40 some odd kids, and all of them got in quite a bit. It was a great game from start to finish. Our JV, I'm really proud of those kids. There aren't very many of them. We've got a real small number of sophomores this year for whatever reason, just kind of a strange situation with that class, and a lot of them are linemen. So that means not many skill guys get much rest. And we played last week against Springtown, and really, I couldn't have been more proud of the way they competed. They competed their guts out until the game was over. Came out on the short end of the stick, but really got after it, and I think got better. And when you do that, when you compete as hard as you can, whether you win or lose, if you're giving everything you have all the way until the end, you're going to be better in the end because of it. And I'm proud of those guys and looking forward to what they can do.
nation knows, Friday nights in the fall in Texas are a special night. Tell everybody a little bit about that atmosphere of playing under the lights in Texas on a Friday night.
Well, you know, like you said, it is an event. It's not just a game. You know, there's not just football players that have worked extremely hard on both sides of the ball, I mean, both sides of the field. There's band, there's cheerleaders, there's drill teams, there's student trainers, there's student filmers. There's a lot of different groups that have put in a lot of time to make that an event and not just a game. You know, I think it's critical. It's great for the kids on the field when it gets tough. And every game does. There's always going to be a time in the game where you need some support. When they hear people in the crowd in the stands yelling for them and cheering for them, and they hear the band making noise, that really does make a difference. You may not think it does. You know, maybe you don't think it does for professionals or whatever, but these are high school kids, and they like to feel that they're supported. You know, in the same way that, you know, the football players want to go and support the volleyball team and want to be there and make noise at the basketball game. It makes a difference for kids when they hear their peers and their parents and just other people in the community out there making noise and cheering on the Eagles.
Well, Coach, I know you'll be ready. I know the boys will be ready. The whole town will be ready. And remember, Decatur Eagle fans, it's this Saturday, 3 p.m. at Stuart B. Lumpkin Stadium in Waxahachie. Your Decatur Eagles against the Alvarado Indians in the Dale Hansen Classic in Waxahachie. Information and directions will be updated at DecaturEagles.mobi along with scores on the Mobi scoreboard on Twitter. We look forward to everybody coming out and cheering on your Decatur Eagles. But for right now, for Coach Fuller, I'm Pat Watlington. Go Eagles! Here we are with Peyton McAllister, Offensive Player of the Game last week against Springtown. Peyton, I got a couple of questions for you. Just tell everybody, what's your mood like on game day? How do you get ready for a game?
You know, I just stay focused. I like to listen to music, keep quiet, everything is be quiet, you know. I mean, that's pretty much it. Just stay focused always.
Y'all gonna be ready for Alvarado?
Yeah, we'll be ready. We should be ready.
Now we've got the Defensive Player of the Game last week against Springtown, number 53, Matt Cedrone. Matt, tell everybody, how do you get ready for a game? How do you get in the mood?
I mostly listen to music. I prefer hip-hop and rap and stuff to get me going. It gets me a little pumped up. That's about it.
So y'all got Alvarado this week. Y'all gonna be ready?
Oh, for sure. We practice hard every day. We'll be ready. We have good coaches that scout for us and make it easy on us.
We're looking forward to it.